Alright, so instead of pictures, it's just to take a video. Two very important things is to know which cab you're working on. A couple of things, differences between K cabs and J cabs. Mine's a Jap cab, so I have this extra piece of metal running up top with three extra screws. One, two, three. K cabs will just have a solid piece of metal with only six screws. You'll have one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, and one here. Konami will sue. That's a very, very valid point. Another thing to make is that J cabs have a little better build quality, and some of the issues concerning grounding are a lot better. First things to look at, especially if your buttons are having issues, just the micro switch itself. So uh, undo your six screws. You're always going to have these three down here at the bottom. Undo those, and like I said, if you're a K cab, you're a J cab. There's quite a few ways to tell. One is just the panel up here. Two is on the side. You'll see. I don't know if you can see them, but I have screws right here. That's a sign of a J cab as well. And then lastly is the back. But you just go ahead and undo the screws and pop this up. I'll try and be really careful here. And then now, depending on which one you have or which one you see, I just switched out these micro switches over here for the originals. The originals are over here. These are the micro switches. Just check and make sure these aren't bad. Normally, buttons that auto enter or auto toggle for whatever reason, you could have a bad micro switch because this button right here gets really worn out. So over time, just the pressure of the button blending on it just keeps it open. Another thing is that they're talking about the lights, which are the yellow or the orange and the blue wires, which are on the front and back. So those control the lights. Another thing is just make sure that all these wires right here on the actual micro switch itself are not touching, because they can cause a short and it'll auto toggle. And you'll see that mine has grounding on the front panel as well, because mine is a Jap cab. I mean, that's literally the only couple of instances that I can really think of, is that if it's auto toggling, check your micro switch one, which is one of these things. This is still a good micro switch. I just switched them out because, newer buttons feel good. I bought some, so they just click a little better than the other ones, which are, old worn Sonwas, which still have a really good lifespan. If this isn't your problem, I'll post a link with the actual JAMA harness pinout and what everything is, and just make sure that those are solid on the JAMA harness itself. I don't really want to go behind my machine right now. It's dark, and I don't have a flash on my camera because I broke it. So just bear with me on that. But any of these connectors right here, they're going to end up being like your, I want to say it's like 12 to 30 something on the JAMA harness itself. But yeah, just go ahead and check all of these connections right here. Make sure they're not touching anything, or that these micro switches, are in good order. You can normally find micro switches for like, I don't know, you can find really good ones for a decent price. I bought a whole bunch of them for dirt. I bought like a bag of 30 for $10. So I mean, you can literally replace those things. Another thing is that if the lights are interfering with that stuff, the lights could be causing a short, and that's just like bad news all the way around, because it just means that there's a bigger problem somewhere else, more than likely going to be on the JAMA loom itself. So yeah, that's all I can think of right now, is that if it's just auto toggling. Another thing is just literally make sure that your stuff in the back is like seated properly, because I know I had some issues with my player one right when I originally bought my machine. The JAMA harness wasn't seated properly, so this would always toggle. And then I just looked at it, blew it off, all the dust, reseated it, and it's fine now. Hopefully this helps. Thank you much.